Well, hello, and welcome back to the lands of Aecathan. No professionals, just a teeny little bit of fancy tech, but always a group of women playing an all-original game of Dungeons & Dragons. I'm Jeff, your game master, and I'll admit, I've been worrying about telling these puns over Zoom when no one laughs, but at least I've determined why. They're not remotely funny.
I liked that one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, we had a big session last time. Some major stuff happened, so let me remind you before we get into tonight's adventure. Kaelin, the chef at Duneshadow Manor, sent the group off with a breakfast that they could eat on the way as they teleported to Dark Coast Keep. There they reconnected with Captain Verthana, learned that he doesn't know much more than they do about what's happening in Ballinamard, and they set out for that city on their carpet. As the sun set, the group came within distant sight of the city, but chose to stop for the night and spend it in Tasha's mansion. After a brief warm-up, the decision was made that Gwen and Athgar would take the carpet and do some nighttime recon of the city. After traveling there, they discovered that the city was quiet, with lights on in a few of the buildings, but strangely, not a soul out on the streets. The next morning, the group set off, concealed by their magics, to a farm on the southwest corner of the city, where they witnessed an orc sitting at a breakfast table with two humans and an older woman who apparently owns the farm. Still concealed, they explored the edge of the city, discovered a temple to Balmus. They, at that point, dropped their concealment, and while searching for the Temple of Terora, encountered a group of orcs acting as city guards. After a tentative but polite encounter, the orcs pointed the group to the Teroran temple, where they met High Priestess Chilia Ravacus. Things were going well until a social faux pas got them sent away. They made their way to the barracks, which is the inn in this section of town, where they met Jas Priren, who took over the business after his father, Yule, was killed in the initial orcish attack. After choosing to show him the rope trick spell, they discovered that Jas is the only person left in Ballinamard who isn't under the sway of creatures who live beneath the city. The four decided to protect Jas, closing his shop down and taking him first into Tasha's mansion, and then, when the decision was made to go for help back to Airmaw, to Gwen's manor house, where they began to make plans to summon something of a war council to try and enact a plan to reclaim Ballinamard from the creatures they believe to be the Thuilnu. And that's where we pick up the following morning in Duneshadow Manor.
Now what?
Yes. This is the question inquiring minds wish to know.
So it's morning, right?
Yes.
I know we didn't do a lot of discovery around there, but it felt like any more pressing our luck, and we'd be pressing too much.
So I think we should contact Warbender and...
Oh. Pam just screamed of death.
Oh no.
Okay, Warbender.
Warbender and your Your magic teacher.
Obrus?
Yes.
Oh, that's... Yeah, Obrus is
Yeah,
mine.
Obrus. And maybe Aralakis.
Now, what are our plans with... I mean, like, the whole town...
Mm-hmm.
At Night in Dreams...
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Tremaine will want to know.
Well, that's why we tell Aralakis. So I think we should invite them here, have a council, come up with a plan, and go from there. What do you think?
Sounds like a plan.
Have a war council, bring them all to where here?
Well, Gwen's place.
Okay.
Should we also tell your aunt and Mother Tassa?
Yes.
Okay, so we have Warbender, Obrus, Aralakis, Mother Tassa,
And yeah,
Tasha's aunt.
yeah.
Would probably recommend letting Lord Bonefang pick participants.
Well, if we tell Warbender, then he can decide whether or not we tell Bonefang. Right?
We don't convene a war council, though. The Lord does.
Okay. I'm gonna start with Warbender.
That would be my suggestion.
All right, well, where are we? We're at Gwen's. We could very easily meet him somewhere in town. Have him come here. Let's not go to JoJo's or anything else. Let's just have him here.
Warbender. Much to discuss. When can you meet us at Gwen's Manor? You can reply to this message.
After a brief pause,
I'm going to take it that it's urgent. So, I can be there in half an hour. If I don't hear back from you, I'll assume that's okay.
He'll be in here in half an hour. Half an hour.
Great.
So let's talk to him first
Yeah.
and move on from there.
And is it morning or is it still...
oh, it's morning.
Okay. So Joss will be able to bring Joss in to Warbender and have him give some witness statement.
Is he awake?
Has anyone checked?
Well, I figure we will check eventually.
I'll
I'll go-
check.
Okay.
Okay. Gwen, you arrive at his room. What do you do?
I knock gently on the door. Tap, tap, tap.
No response.
I knock a little harder.
Ooh.
No response.
I pound on the door with my fist.
No response.
I'm going to assume that he might be dead, so I'm going to open the door.
Okay. He's still in bed.
I walk over and see if I can wake him.
All right. Make a persuasion check.
Wow.
Just to wake him up, huh?
Uh-huh.
Persuasion. 21.
You get...
There's food and coffee. Nothing.
He's still asleep.
Okay, but he's not dead.
No, he just made noise. So
And
unless he's undead...
Well, sometimes the dead make noises. But he's not feverish or fretful in his sleep.
Do you check him?
Yeah, I figure I have my hands on him to shake him awake.
Okay. Make a
Medicine check?
medicine check. Thank you. I suddenly had editionist confusion. As I have 4 different editions of D&D in my head, all trying to tell me the skill is called something different.
Let's see. Medicine. That's a 25.
He does not feel feverish. He's actually fairly cool to the touch. Not dangerously so, but...
Okay. And we've all had a long rest, right?
yes.
I'm going to go ahead and cast Dream Sentinel on him.
I think he already has that.
Oh, did he?
You
Okay.
cast it on him right before he went to sleep.
I thought we did, but then I wasn't sure. So it should still last, right?
It's 24 hours, so yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will leave him to it.
Okay.
I'll go back downstairs and report that he seems to be merely exhausted.
So, where are you going to hold this meeting?
Here.
Yes, where in the mansion?
On the first floor, there's a council room of sorts.
Yep. Okay.
In the council room. I mean, everyone's got one.
I don't have one.
You
Yes.
don't need one.
It's the living room.
Oh. Okay. So about 25 minutes after you contacted him, Tosk comes in and says, "There is a General Warbender at the door. Should I show him in?"
Please do.
He leaves, walks out. Warbender comes in, helmet under his arm, dressed in his uniform as per usual.
Welcome.
At ease. Thank you for the welcome. All right, what's the emergency? And should I sit down for this?
Please.
We all should.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at this point, Warbender and the 5 of you fill up all the chairs around the table. So if there are going to be more people, you're going to need to bring more chairs in.
I'll go talk with Tosk and have him relay to the rest of the staff that we're expecting important visitors. We need more chairs, and
Coffee.
if it isn't too inconvenient for Kaylin, coffee and any baked goods that she can procure would be wonderful.
Also, can we have someone on Joss, J-O-S? Jass's room in case he wakes up, and we'll usher him down here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask them to keep an eye on him.
Okay.
So, we went to the first keep. What's the name of the keep?
Dark Coast.
We went to Dark Coast Keep. They really didn't know anything about Ballinamard.
Aye, that gels with the reports I've seen.
So then we went to Ballinamard. And almost no one was on the street. We encountered ogres that were orcs. Orcs, sorry. We encountered orcs who were town guard.
How do you know that?
They told us so.
They were walking around as a regiment of just city soldiers.
And it was confirmed by the head of the Temple of Chora, as well as the Ballinamard citizen we have upstairs.
You've got somebody from Ballinamard here in the building.
Yes.
Okay.
But
good.
he's asleep.
Well, wake him up.
We'll get to that.
All right. It's going to be one of those stories. I don't suppose you've got any coffee.
It's coming. And we went to the inn where there was one individual trying to do all of the work for the inn, getting it ready and open for the day. And after we convinced him that it was safe to tell us, he told us that everyone in the town is under a spell. They're all being psychically attacked every night in their sleep by the Thuilnu.
We believe.
And he managed to fake it well enough that no one caught on that he was not under the spell.
He had the same symptoms as Lord Tremaine did when he was under attack by the Noctomancy spells of the Thuilnu, so it's not hard for us to confirm the story. And his description of the creatures that have been seen at night.
So he's actually seen one of these Thuilnu.
Well, probably one of their monsters.
Damn. I'd really like to know what they look like.
I think
Oh. You mean the Thuilnu?
from what he
Right.
told me when we were alone, he described them as having no eyes, different shades of white. It was different than the monsters that we've seen.
So he has seen them.
Yes.
Well,
Only at night.
tiny little piece of good news amidst the shit.
So we thought it was best to bring him back here and talk this through.
All right. So, what's your plan from this point out?
We're not sure.
Gather resources enough to take back the town.
We need to talk to a bunch of different people. It's bigger than us. We might be big, but this is the entire town that is affected and is affected nightly.
And we think... Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. You go.
We think that's probably why the orcs are there seeking asylum from the dragons or Thuilnu or whoever.
Oh, no.
So they have basically an army in town.
So we're also wondering if the orcs that have surrendered here are under potentially a spell as well.
I'm not party to those talks, so...
But it would take more than the 5 of us
It's gonna take more than
to
a bunch of us.
fight the Thuilnu and free the town and get everyone from the town free of the spell. We'll have to do them one at a time.
When you talk to them, everything they say seems perfectly reasonable. The mines haven't been restarted because they don't have enough people because of all of the deaths. So, but when you press them on anything other than kind of the party line, then they react poorly. Not threatening, just poorly.
Defensive.
Everything's fine. Everything's great. But it's not.
So... let me see if I get this straight. The citizens of Ballinamard are living side by side with orcs.
Mm-hmm.
But the orcs are living side by side with the citizens of Ballinamard.
Yes.
They're getting along with each other.
Perfectly well.
They think it's normal.
So, exactly what is the imminent threat to the people of Ballinamard?
They're being held prisoner.
They're being groomed. This could be a sickness that spreads through the whole country.
Their minds are not their own. They're controlled.
But you just said that, as far as they're all concerned, they're fine.
Because
Can I make an insight check or a check on him to see if he's been affected? I don't know what
Make an insight check.
oh god,
This is definitely not something that Warbender should be saying.
25.
You don't see anything. He's not behaving strangely. He's asking probing questions, which is kind of what he does.
Right. Insight might not be the best thing anyway if he's affected, because he would believe what he's saying.
Psychic slavery is still slavery.
Aye. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I don't know enough about it to argue to begin with, but... No, my question is that this is bad. But I'm not certain that it quite rises to the level of an emergency, in that doesn't sound like anyone's being hurt. Controlled, perhaps, but not hurt.
Okay.
There's actually a peace in Ballinamard right now that shouldn't exist.
Yes. There is a peace. My concern is that if they have control over the whole town, they can do whatever they want with them. They can turn them into an army.
We're also not getting any of our mining stuff. We're not getting any of our things because there aren't enough people. So they're going to start recruiting to get people here. And then those people will also become infected. And then they will maybe not.
So if this is a test city, when they take over Erma, because we've done nothing to stop them.
Oh, I'm not suggesting we do nothing. I'm just saying that this doesn't sound to me like something that we need to figure out how to solve tonight. This sounds like something that's been being put in place for quite some time. It's likely going to take quite some time to undo it.
That's true.
And charging off when we don't know what we're charging into isn't going to do anybody any good.
Okay.
I think what we were in... I don't think any of us were suggesting to pull the army back from attacking the dragons. I think it was we need to convene to figure out what to do.
Yeah, because we don't know.
Because the longer we wait, the more... I mean, when Lord Tremaine was almost dead by the time we got to him.
Aye, but if I remember the report on that one, it's a little bit different for what was happening to him than what you're describing is going on in Ballinamard.
Well, it's the same magic.
Oh, aye. But did it seem to be having that same negative effect on the health of the people that you saw and that you talked to?
So that was one person. It was hard to define that they were having a problem. This is an entire town of infected.
Right, but what I'm saying is, did you see anyone who was suffering the way Tremaine was suffering?
Of the 5 people we saw in town, no. People are locked, basically, in their homes.
And there may be additional people who are fighting it, like the person we have upstairs. He believed he was the only one, but there may be others, in which case they're in a battle for their minds.
How do we find out?
Other than going door to door, I'm not sure.
Aye, that's where I'm at.
Right.
Well, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
I don't think it's our decision to make.
Well, you're the ones who found it. So, I'm gonna say that, as far as I'm concerned, you're the ones taking the lead on it. I report it to the Lord. If he wants to step in, he can. But he's got a lot on his plate right now.
Right. For us to take this problem on will require an army. So if we don't need the Lord's permission to convene an army, we will do so. I just doubt Bone Thane's going to want the 4 to have their own personal army.
I've heard worse things.
Well, me too. That doesn't mean Bone Thane will agree.
Agree.
Well, the first thing we need to do is figure out exactly what the hell is going on. And probably talk to people who know more about this sort of thing than we do. I assume you have some folks in mind.
You, Bone Thane, Harriman. Assuming you have planned sieges before.
Well, he means about the Noctamenti.
Yeah, I mean about the gathering of information before we decide what to do. We need to know more about what's happening. Right now, we've got practically nothing to go on without these generalities.
I can go back.
Not by yourself.
I'm a scout. This is what I do.
You're the head of the intelligence wing of the army. Do you have additional intelligence agents we could take?
Most of them are already out on assignment. The only ones I've got right now are the trainees, and I would send them with you.
No.
They'd be a liability.
Aye. And some of them show promise. I'd hate to get them killed.
I can go.
I can go too.
I think we can all go.
You're not going by yourself.
I would be less likely to be detected if I could move quickly and
And if
not as a
they
group.
affect you and you're alone? We're all just this, I mean, we have some magic that will help us defend. It's not foolproof. If we're there, all of us could become slaves to the Thuilnu.
Well, that was partly my idea of not going as a group, would be that if someone were to be infected, the others could detect it and pull that person out of there.
Well, you and Arabelle are the only two that can detect people who are infected, so it would be pretty much pointless if you were to be infected and then
What's
you
the
couldn't
spell?
tell.
Detect anomaly is what I use. But that's also the reason that I should go, because I can detect if others have that.
How many times can you use that spell a day?
Only twice.
Yeah.
And as soon as they get wind of it and they come at night, and you're going to take them all on, or the orcs, or...
I wouldn't stay overnight.
Well, how would you get there if we don't go with you?
Carpet? Same way I got there before.
No, you teleported
We're
and
in
then you took
Irma.
the carpet.
Right. I don't mean for you all to stay that far behind.
I don't think there's any chance we're letting you go in alone, Gwen. Not for this.
Okay. If the 5 of us go back to Dark
Coast.
Coast, and from Dark Coast, Gwen and I scout together, because I'm almost as sneaky. And I am an intelligence officer.
Well, then I should go too. Since I too am almost as sneaky, and I'm the one that can make us all invisible. And given that I can make us all invisible, there is then no reason not for all 5 of us to go.
When we cast the spell, will it make us uninvisible?
What do you mean?
If we're casting the spell to find out who's affected.
No, it's
Doesn't
not an
count.
attack, it's a divination. And it's only attack actions or attack spells that break invisibility.
Okay.
All right. So who else do you want to talk to?
Mother Tassa and
Good call.
Oberus.
Why Oberus?
He's the most informed on the Noctomancy spells. He might have additional ways we can combat it.
I'm going to run upstairs and try to get a hold of Jas
Okay.
while this is going on.
And Mother Tassa should know about the Thuilnu. But I don't think we should tell anyone else because we don't know who they have where.
All right, you've said that you can tell whether or not somebody's been affected. Check me.
We can tell if a memory's been modified.
I'll cast Detect Anomaly on him.
Okay. You get back no indication that there's been any sort of memory modification for Warbender.
As far as I can tell, your memory is intact.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say intact, but that's good to know nobody's been in there messing with it.
I think when we talk to Oberus, actually, it might be better to talk to Father Dilbuss because I believe it's a divine spell.
Okay.
We need probably someone in each major city who can cast the protection spell, and they should cast it on Aecathan's leaders every day. It lasts for 24 hours.
So there's a way to guard against this sort of manipulation.
Gives you a level of protection to defend against it, but we should make sure there's enough people. Bone Thane, Tremaine, BA.
All right.
All right, so you're needing to talk to Oberus from the tower. You're needing to talk to Dilbuss from the Sanctum. You're needing to talk to Mother Tassa.
We can probably have Mother Tassa and Oberus meet us at the Sanctum.
Or I could just get them to come here.
That's true. Somebody can cast the circle.
They've all got
Sanctum.
access. They've all got access to the circle.
I think those are,
in Bone Thane's keep.
and we know we can trust them as long as they're not affected, but we can check.
Right. All right, well, if you can take care of contacting Mother Tassa, I can get messages to the tower and the Sanctum. When do you want them?
This afternoon?
Can you summon them without a Y?
Without a what?
Without telling anyone why?
Aye.
This evening, perhaps. Maybe this afternoon will be too quick.
Yeah, well, this evening. 6 o'clock.
All right.
He levers himself out of the chair.
All right. I'll send the message. If they don't respond in the affirmative, I'll let you know. Otherwise, just plan on meeting here at 6.
I'll make sure he gets his coffee to go.
Yeah, during this time, Kaylin has brought in coffee and...
Meanwhile, have I been able to wake up Jas before he goes?
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. 21.
Ah! Who are you?
Hi, I'm Zorith. Do you remember me?
I think so. I'm in your mansion?
Yes. Well, you're not in the mansion as such. We kind of had to move you because you were asleep and we wanted to get you out of... what do you remember about our conversation before you went to sleep?
You said I was gonna be safe, that I could actually sleep, that they wouldn't come after me. And so I slept, and now that I think of it, this really doesn't look like the same room.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. I forgot that we actually did move you.
So, where are we?
We're in Erma, in Lady Gwenlauren's manor, and we actually have a member of the military downstairs who maybe would like a little more information that you could give about what you've seen and what you know.
Okay.
And how long has he been sleeping?
Oh, shoot.
15 hours, something like that?
Yeah.
You've been sleeping for about 15 hours. And I know Gwen came up here, tried to wake you up earlier, but we let you sleep as long as we could. And and I explain how to get downstairs, and I'm gonna run back downstairs. Well, I'm gonna tell him, as quick as possible. I'm gonna go downstairs and try to stop the gentleman from leaving, and if you'd be so kind as to... And I tell him how to get downstairs.
Okay, let me find my shoes.
And then I run downstairs, and I make sure that I can try to stop Warbender from leaving.
All right. Well, you come running back into the room just as he's, standing up and...
Wait, Jas is up. I was able to wake him up.
That's the young man that we brought with us from Ballinamard.
Right.
He's been sleeping for about 15 hours, and he was very abruptly woken up by me, so bear with him a little bit. But he'll be coming down very shortly.
All right. Takes about 5 minutes, and then you hear a very tentative knock at the door.
Come in.
Door opens, and Jas kind of peeks his head around. Okay. I remember most of you. I don't know him.
This is General Warbender. He's my boss.
Whoa. A general? Okay.
I'm sure all of this is a little overwhelming considering you just woke up. Would you like some coffee?
Yeah, that's probably a really good idea. Sit down, lad.
Arabelle will get him coffee and pat him on the arm. It's okay.
He walks over and kind of sits down and takes a couple good sips and rubs his eyes. Ugh. I can't remember when the last time I slept that long was. I can't remember when I slept longer than about 3 hours.
Why?
Huh? Oh, well, the only time that I could sleep is when it was sunny, like bright and sunny out during the day, because they don't ever seem to come out during the day. They definitely don't like the sun. And so that's when I knew that I could sleep and not have to worry about them coming in and trying to make me think things different than how things really are.
And how do you know that's what they're doing?
Oh, 'cause I've had conversations with the people that come into my inn, and I ask them questions, and the answers they give, it's not what happened. But they believe it. They believe it like somebody went back and took them back in time and made them live a different life.
You're not thinking that's what happened.
I don't know. I have no idea what happened. All I know is that we got attacked by orcs, and we fled the city, and then the army came and they got the city back for us, and we went back, and then all of a sudden there were more orcs, but that was okay. And that was the first big clue that something was really, really wrong. Because at first people were scared and locking themselves in, and that made sense to me. And then the next day, there were people knocking on the door asking if I was going to open for business. And I told them, go home, lock yourself in, there's orcs. And they were like, yeah? So? You got something against orcs? And that was when I thought maybe I'd gone insane. I thought maybe I'd finally gone mad. But
You said it seemed to affect parts of the city.
well, I don't know. I can only guess, because all I know is the people that came into the inn. And that first day, it was just like 5 or 6 people. And then the next day, it was twice that. And then the next day, it was twice that. And then within about a week and a half, I couldn't find anybody who was upset about there being orcs in town. And by that point, the orcs themselves were just kind of like,
Oh, hey, hi, how you doing? Good day, nice to see ya.
which is the freakiest thing. Because my impulse is either to stab them or run from them. And they show up in the inn and walk in, and everybody's like, hey, Sergeant, how you doing? And they expect me to serve them. And then when I get squirrely, everybody looks at me like, what's wrong with you? And that was when I figured out I should probably just go along with it. Because whatever was going on, I didn't want to draw attention to myself. But it only took a couple nights of going out and seeing these white things out on the streets and nobody else from town out on the streets to convince me that I didn't want to go out at night anymore. And so I had shorter hours because I would stay up all night. Even though I wouldn't have customers, I'd stay up all night. And then I'd wait until about an hour or two after it got light, and then I'd go to sleep until it was time to open for lunch. And that's pretty much all the sleep I was getting. And if it was a cloudy day or raining, then I pretty much didn't sleep at all. I also found out that you go like 3 days without sleeping at all, and everything starts to get really weird.
So, you don't actually know how people's memories got changed.
If that's what was going on, no. No, they would show up and they were them, but they were different them. Like, we'd still talk about the same old thing, but, if you brought up the orcs, it was kind of like they just started to get real general about the stuff they talked about, and it was just kind of like, oh yeah, they're fine. And then they changed the subject. Like, they didn't have a problem with it, but they didn't want to talk about it.
And what about the white things you saw at night?
Oh. Let's just say I still see them when I sleep. But I run away from them then too.
Can you describe them?
White. Different shades of white. I saw some that looked like crabs. I saw some that looked like some kind of weird nightmare bird. There was the one that was... It was like a liquid rock that just sort of rolled down the street. Every so often, like an arm would come out and grab something and retract and... Yeah. And those are just the ones I saw close enough. There were others I didn't stick around to look at.
So how did you actually manage to resist having your memory changed? Have you checked him?
I believe we did.
Yeah, we did.
I just, whenever I thought there might be anybody around, I just had this little litany that I'd say about, thinking about the next day and what I needed to bake and what I needed to cook and set up, and so nothing that would seem out of the ordinary, but nothing that would give me away. I'm so tired of thinking about that inn. 'Cause I did that for hours and hours and hours, day after day. And either they didn't know or they didn't care. Maybe I'm not important enough.
This was just a list? It was just like a list of things to do?
Just a litany in my head, just over and over, going over my plans for the next day.
What were you going to say, Arabelle?
I'll say, just for good measure, I'll go ahead and cast it to confirm.
Okay. You sense no modifications made to his memory.
His memory is still intact.
So, you know that something happened. You don't know what exactly or how.
Well, I'm guessing that it happened at night because it would be the next day when I talk to people that more and more people seem to think that everything was fine.
Well, that might be but it's not conclusive.
Sorry, it's the best I could come up with. I don't know anything about this stuff. I swing a sword, and I run an inn.
I understand. Alright, I'm gonna go contact those people. You contact your people. And, young man, I appreciate what you done. And, appreciate you talking to me. You're safe with this group. Don't worry about that. Just know that myself and Lord Bonethane, we trust these people.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Alright. I'll see you this evening. If you need anything else from me between now and then, Tasha, you know how to get hold of me.
Yes, sir.
And he just turns and walks out, setting his helmet on his head as he goes. So, you know Lord Bonethane?
Sure.
We're kind of a big deal. And then Arabelle laughs.
Okay.
Have you heard about the good dragons? Maybe not.
Those are two words I've never heard put together before.
We have a lot to fill you in on.
Hmm.
But I think I have an idea about that for you.
What?
I'd like to introduce him to Viessa.
Yes.
And while we handle what's going on in Ballinamard, he might be able to get some training and take on his father's old job. He's obviously strong of mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe I could walk him over while you made our messages. Or we could ask Viessa to come here.
I think we should ask Viessa to come here.
Really?
I don't know. That's, yeah, maybe you don't want her in your house.
I'm not sure he's ready to go to Viessa's place yet.
We could take him to
Jojo's.
JoJo's.
Yeah, JoJo's.
Viessa.
That's okay.
I mean, we can all go.
What's a JoJo's?
It's a tavern,
Jojo is one of our dearest friends.
and he runs the Shouting Pirate here in.
So I know I woke you up. Should we see if? Yeah, I don't know. Never mind.
If you're hungry. Before we go. I mean, it's up to you. Your father was an informant for someone here in town. He passed along information about Ballinamard. She has a network of people all across Aecathan to stay informed. That's why we were looking for your father.
So she works for the army intelligence like Tasha does.
No.
She's a private citizen who takes on things that official channels can't.
Oh. And my dad worked for her?
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Attack cat.
And if you were interested, I actually think you would be a very good replacement for that.
I guess I could talk to her. I mean, that couldn't hurt, right?
No,
I mean-
it couldn't.
You're going to be here in Irma for a little bit while we get Ballinamard straightened out, so it'd give you a chance to talk to her and see if it's something that you're interested in.
Okay. I don't know. Shouting pirate sounds kind of cool. I mean, it's a good name.
It is. We have friends there, so people we trust.
Okay.
Do you need to eat something first?
I think I'm good with the coffee for now. I don't usually eat a whole lot in the morning. Of course,
All right.
my whole schedule's so screwed up, I don't really have a regular eating schedule anymore. I kind of snack when I cook.
There is food at the Pirate, so if you get hungry in a little bit, Jojo has great food.
Okay.
So I sent a message to Oberus.
Okay.
Oberus, need to pick your brain about Noctomancy. Please come to dinner at Gwen's house, 6 p.m. tonight.
I thought Warbender was sending the messages. We were just supposed to get in touch with Mother Tassa.
Oh, crap.
That's what he said.
Oh, I forgot.
Do you
Let's
wa-
scratch that.
Do you want to retract the message?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so Mother Tassa.
Back it up. Back it up. Back it up.
Yeah.
You could send the actual. Oh, never mind.
Do we send a message to her? Or
Isn't that Zori's purview?
yeah, can you do that, sorry?
I can't remember. Can I just talk to Mother Tassa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. And is it 25 words sending? Same thing?
Sweet.
It's like opening on. It's like turning on a microphone.
Okay.
Is this thing on?
Click, 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 click. Hello, Mother Tassa. It's been a while. We have a situation that we would require your input on. If you have the ability to come to Gwen's Manor at 6 p.m. tonight, we are gathering a few like-minded individuals to discuss something of very importance.
Utmost importance.
Well, don't keep me in suspense, child. Tell me what this is.
It regards the Thuilnu taking over the town of Ballinamard. The whole town.
Oh my. I will make certain that I am there this evening. Thank you for letting me know. This, while not unexpected, is unwelcome news. I assume you are bringing some of your other friends, like the gentleman from the Tower of Azinor. who discovered the Othalthakian temple.
Yes, he and others we are going to bring together to do a meeting of the minds.
Excellent. So, sunset-ish at Gwenlaren's manor house.
Yes.
Expect to see me there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So, can we assume that the nodding was the conversation?
Oh, yes. I forgot, and I told her the reason that we needed her there. She asked why, and I forgot, so we couldn't tell if she was affected or not. But she's coming.
Check her right when she gets here.
If they are able to affect Mother Tassa, we should go investigate this Western Aecathan because we may need somewhere to retreat to.
My guess is that she's fine, but I think we can only check 2 more people today between Gwen and I, so my thought is Mother Tassa and Oberus, because I think Oberus can do it on Father Dilbuss. I think. Hopefully.
All right. So, you have Jas there. You have until 6 p.m. What would you like to do?
So if we're not telling people what's going on in Ballinamard, how do we explain to Biessa that Jas is now available?
Oh, and also that his father is dead.
Well, I think
Yes.
we can tell her that he's dead because that was due to the original attack.
True.
Yeah, we might want to wait to introduce him because Biessa has a way of getting people to talk when they shouldn't.
Yep.
We're gonna wait a little bit before we introduce you to Biessa.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't want to tell her quite yet.
Honestly, she probably already knows. But
I don't think she does.
No, I think she's. Yeah, I think.
I mean,
Of course, we
who
told
knows?
Warbender, so maybe who knows who Biessa knows.
Right. So here's the other thing. Would you like to go back to bed and sleep? Because I did wake you in prematurely.
Have you eaten?
No, I'm not really hungry yet.
You should probably eat something before you sleep.
The coffee's good.
The muffins are amazing. Perhaps you could just try one of those.
Okay. My problem is I can't really tell when I'm hungry and when I'm not anymore. Because mostly it's just a blur.
I break open a muffin and slather it with butter and hand it to him and say, take a couple bites and see if this helps jog your memory.
Okay. He takes a bite and chews it, swallows it.
That's pretty good. I still don't know if I'm hungry or not, but it tastes good, so I'll eat it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, you're welcome to nap again. I don't know what we'll do today until 6. We'll probably require some more expression of the things that you've seen. You may have to briefly retell your story.
Okay, I don't know, I didn't get the feeling from talking to the dwarf that I was all that helpful, but...
Well, these are different minds.
You were helpful.
You're muted.
You were helpful.
Well, I hope so. I do appreciate you all getting me out of there. It's gonna take probably a long time before I'm not paranoid. But it's nice to know that at least I can go to sleep. I don't know. I probably will take a nap later before that meeting tonight. So it's morning now. Okay. Wow. I can't remember the last time I actually slept through a night. Huh.
Good feeling?
Strange feeling.
Do everything that we can to help Ballinamard.
I appreciate that. It's been awful knowing that something's happening and not being able to do anything about it or know if I could talk to anybody about it. Even my friends. You start to bring up a couple subjects and they immediately go into sort of this, oh, well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, and then they change the subject and you can't get them to talk about it.
Would your friends go with you if you invited them to join you?
I don't know. I didn't try that because I wasn't going anywhere. But I do know that nobody's leaving town at all. So I don't know, maybe that's part of that whole we don't talk about it, change the subject list too.
Who's the most influential person in town?
Well, probably the council.
And if the council gave an order, would people follow it?
Usually. They'd grumble.
Even
But-
if it were leaving town?
Well, it was the council that had us run to Dark Coast Keep the first time. So
Just thinking if we could get a couple influential members of the community to feel better, then maybe we could coordinate something in terms of getting people to leave to go to a different location where they could be treated away from the influence of the Thuilnu.
That's a thought, I suppose. I don't know. Speaker Gisos, maybe? But they've all come in and they're all changed the subject.
Well, that's where we'd have to get them away from the Thuilnu.
Yeah, I don't know. It would have been great if any of the shaman had survived.
They all died?
Yeah, in the initial attack.
Was it targeted?
I have no idea.
That might give us some insight as to what works against the Thuilnu.
Were all of the shaman in the same area, or were they just spread out?
Oh no, they were all they all live in the same lodge. The master shaman and journeyman Resvel and their new apprentice Shirepike, I think was his last name. When the attack came, they all went out. Well, except for the apprentice. The apprentice stayed in the lodge. But the master shaman and the journeyman went out to help try and fight, and they both got killed. And I assume Shirepike got killed too. I haven't seen him. So I would think that if he were still alive, I'd have seen him.
Yeah. Gosh. There's too much going on.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go upstairs and rest, I guess. Is there like do you have a porch?
I do. What do you need?
Would it be okay if I just went outside?
Follow me. I have just what the doctor ordered. And I take him up to the Widow's Walk.
As you start to leave, Athgar just sort of lays a hand on your sleeve. Are you taking him up?
Indeed.
Why not take him out the front, where it's warm?
It's warm upstairs as well.
Oh, I forgot that.
I think you'll enjoy it. And he can't go far.
True.
You're welcome to join.
I think I'm going to contact Aralakas.
Good move. So I go take him up to the Widow's Walk.
Okay.
I tell him that this is one of my favorite haunts when I need a little opportunity to get away and think.
Hey. How come it's warm? This was, I know I didn't expect it to be quite as cold as back home, but it's still winter here too, right?
It is. My staff knows of a person who put an enchantment on this space, which is really handy since I'm from a much warmer climate myself, and it's nice to not have to shiver while I take my alone time.
Wow.
It's a great staff.
This is really nice.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I just sit up here for a while?
Not at all. Please just stay up here, and when you're ready, come back down the same way.
Okay. Hey,
I'll leave you to it.
Thanks. I don't know if I've said that yet, but thanks to you and everybody. Just thanks.
You're welcome. We're glad that you are no longer under attack, and if you are looking for a place to take a nap, this is actually a rather nice spot. And I show him a place where I've put up a hammock up there.
Okay. Yeah, I might do that. Wow, nap out in the fresh air.
And no risk of danger.
Huh. Yeah, we'll see. Right now, I'm kind of enjoying the view.
It is a nice view.
I've never been to Erma before.
Oh. Well, if you'd like to take a look around, I'm sure one of us would be happy to escort you. Is there anything you need? Do you need a fresh change of clothing or jacket? Winter gear?
Well, if I'm gonna go out, I'll probably need a coat. I didn't bring that. I didn't think about it.
We'll take care of it.
But I don't know. Yeah, probably change of clothes eventually. But for now, I'm good.
Very well. Then I'll leave you to it. Going to head back down, find Tosk, and ask if he would arrange to get a complete change of clothing. Maybe something just a little nicer. And a coat suitable for the weather outside.
Of course, ma'am. But might I ask for a bit more guidance on a little nicer?
Clothing similar to what he's wearing, just perhaps a slightly better cut of fabric. Just,
Ah, so same style, but up a couple levels.
Exactly. Something that would be a little more comfortable and that would look a little nicer. Maybe he wants to make a good first impression here in Erma.
Understood, ma'am. I'll see to it.
Thank you so much. And please just use some funds from the estate if you need anything. I'm happy to cover the cost.
Very good, ma'am.
And maybe a hat.
I'll see what
Something
I
appropriate.
can do.
Thank you. So I go back and join the group and tell them all that he's up on the Widow's Walk, enjoying the view, and seems a little in awe of the big city here in Erma. I think he might like to look around a little while he's here.
I mean, he went from being under siege to the manor.
I'm ordering him a set of clothing so that he has a fresh change of clothes, can catch a shower when he's finally gotten enough sleep. We'll make sure he's in good shape before we send him back out into the world.
I'm certain he will appreciate that.
Well, he's been through a lot.
So I'm sort of I don't know if upset is the word, but I'm sort of sad that Warbender didn't take us more seriously. Is it really not that big of a deal?
No. It's not that he didn't think it was a big deal. It's that he wants some more information.
I also got the sense that his resources are scant.
Very thin. Yeah.
Still not entirely sure what more information we need to go back and gather.
Well, we need to talk about that.
Well, it dawns on me that we need to know enough to know what we're going to do. I mean, what do we know at this point that would lead us to a plan of action? We know we need to save the city.
But we
Beyond
don't
that,
know
what do
how.
we know?
I think we either need to get the Thuilnu out or the people out. Because as long as the Thuilnu are there, then they will just reinfect the
Right.
populace.
But we've already talked about the 5 of us can't do that. So, we went to find out what was going on in Ballinamard. We did that. And we reported back. And I mean, he didn't take it seriously enough that we thought perhaps he was infected. It was just not at all what I expected from him. And I'm actually quite disappointed in his response. So, if what we have is not enough, there's nothing else we can find out. If most of the city is infected and we have 2 people that can undo it, 1 person at a time, we're going to spend the next year in Ballinamard. That doesn't seem a good use of our resources. And if Aramod doesn't want to help, then they're writing off Ballinamard.
I'm not certain it's a lack of desire. I got the sense it's more a lack of ability. This is not something an army can solve.
It's not something the 5 of us can solve either, so...
Well, it might be. So, it sounds like the chanting of his to-do list might have been something that helped him fight off the psychic attack. So maybe we need to do a little experimentation in terms of figuring out what makes it more challenging for the Thuilnu to attack someone.
But if the memories have already been modified, then we have to unmodify them. It's not a continuous thing. And again, I can do 2 people a day.
So maybe we...
And if we go in there with
2
people,
What's the spell?
reverse anomaly.
Ugh.
What if we cure or reverse the anomaly for 2 and then see if we can figure out how to keep them safe by trying some different techniques?
There was something to... If we could get the council healed, then maybe they could convince everybody else to leave town.
My guess is that the Thuilnu have probably implanted an idea that they shouldn't leave. Because otherwise, they would have for trade purposes alone.
Additionally, everything that we do has to be done within daylight hours.
Mm-hmm.
And could be possibly undone by the night.
And yeah. Or if they see that there's interference, they could just turn the orcs and slaughter everyone.
So what we need is more information about Noctomancy,
Yeah.
and to see if there's some kind of mass reversal that we could do. I'm interested in this idea that he just kind of chanted this list. I wonder if there might be a song or something that could be catchy enough that it would be an earworm for them, and they would focus on that when they need to stay strong. We do have some bards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a song. Maybe they wouldn't see it coming. But that's probably an Aerolacus question.
Or an Oberus question.
Or
Yeah.
an Oberus question.
I don't think Aerolacus knows much about Noctomancy. I think it's Oprus.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else to do today? I mean, we've pretty much hit all of the stores and everything. Should we just fast forward until evening?
I mean, I guess the question for us is if, as Warbender said, it's not an imminent threat, are the Jagravonans more of an imminent threat?
I guess it depends if we talk to our little mind group, see what they say. If they're not, I don't know, if they're not concerned about it, why are we concerned about it? I just don't know how.
I don't mean to write off the town of Ballinamard, but if Erma is going to, I'm just wondering if our attentions are better somewhere else. Because we cannot do this.
Alone, yeah.
Well,
we cannot.
Okay, but if we can talk to Oberus and Mother Tassa, maybe they have the resources we haven't tapped yet.
Right. We're gonna talk to the group and we'll see if we can maybe brainstorm some kind of idea about getting back into the town, maybe to do more research, but it's so dangerous.
Yeah, if it's just to go sit there and watch the town, then we should go back to the desert. If that's all that we can pay someone else to do that. That's not worth it. Sorry, I'm very frustrated with Warbender, and at this point, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna take a walk.
Okay.
And as everyone sort of heads off to do their own thing for the afternoon hours, this is a good time to take a break. So we'll come back, and I'm guessing probably dive right into the meeting of the minds, so to speak, in about 15 minutes. So don't go anywhere. And welcome back. It is now the evening. The guests have begun to arrive.
I greet the guests.
First one back is Warbender.
I sit him away from Arabelle.
Okay.
I'm not gonna bite him.
No, but you might rip him a new one. So,
Politely.
politely.
He'll thank me after.
Politely,
Nice.
kindly, and with great empathy, rip him a new one.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Yikes.
Jas is already in there, and Warbender just sort of strikes up a conversation with him.
Did he get more rest?
He took a nap.
Have his new clothes arrived?
They have not.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But there's a slight popping sound behind you as you're standing looking out your front door. And a voice says,
Would you prefer it if I make my destination point out in the courtyard in the future?
Not at all. My home is your home, Mother Tassa.
You're very sweet, but feel free to ask me to come in through the door like everyone else. This is, of course,
You're not
your
like
home.
everyone else.
No, but this is your home, and I will respect your wishes.
Well, I wouldn't make this offer to just anyone, but for you, of course.
Well,
You're
I
always welcome
appreciate
here.
it. So where are we meeting?
Downstairs. Or
well,
here in the...
yeah, you're
I guess-
basically, you can just sort of point off to your right.
Yeah,
Very well.
so I do.
And then you hear another popping sound from out in the courtyard, and you see 5 people appear. Three of them you know. One of them you've seen. And one of them you've never laid eyes on before. You see,
I turn and say to Tosk, we're going to need more chairs.
I shall fetch them right away.
Thank you.
You see Obras and Indruz, and standing behind them is probably the most put-together looking dwarf you've ever laid eyes on. Everything is immaculately groomed, including the robe that the dwarf is wearing, the hair, the beard, the eyebrows.
Is this the person who am I there?
No, this is Gwen standing in the doorway. The other 2 people you see are Father Dilbuss, and standing beside Father Dilbuss is the High Curate of the Faelefiri Sanctum.
And I also say under my breath to Tosk, you might want to mention to Kaylin that heavy hors d'oeuvres would be appropriate for this gathering.
I believe she was already planning, but I will check.
Excellent. And to the guests I say, welcome. Please, come in. Make yourselves comfortable.
Try to catch Athgar.
I take coats and, do the hostessy things. Ask if they would like a glass of something to drink. Direct them to the room where we're going to be meeting.
Oh. Actually, I have a question for you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The Father Dilbuss gestures for his companion to come in, and she walks in and nods her head at you and says, "I am pleased that you have invited us into your home. I am an honored guest."
And I'm pleased that you joined us. Will you honor us with your presence?
It was suggested to me by one of my peers that this would be something appropriate for the Sanctum to be aware of. So I asked if I could accompany Father Dilbuss. Well, I told him I would be accompanying him.
We're glad you're here. Please, come this way and make yourselves comfortable.
Come, Father. And, Obras and Indruz walk in. And Obras just sort of walks up and wraps you in a hug.
Welcome.
This is a lovely place. I don't think I've been here before.
Well, that's an oversight on my part.
You've done very well for yourself.
Thank you.
Obras, we have other things to do. Can this wait until afterwards?
Oh, fine. Oh, yes. Please allow me to introduce, Ahagan Unvusim,
Gesundheit.
the High Enchanter of the Tower of Azinor. He is currently the leader of the school.
Have they
It's my
made it?
great pleasure to welcome you. Please join us.
As all these people file into our room, we only asked for a few.
Three people.
Yeah.
And so
I'm sitting here going,
I'm gonna gather all of our people, the five of us, and I'm gonna say, we need a powwow in the kitchen very quickly,
Okay.
please.
I'm
in a room.
I'm going to keep playing hostess, but I have a feeling I know where this conversation is going.
Okay.
I can't just take off. I'm still greeting people.
Okay, yeah. So,
Right. Zori, if you could discreetly get Master Obras.
okay, yes. And I'm gonna go discreetly. We need to also find out what they were told, because that's okay. So I go out and I grab Master Obras and I say, Master Obras, I do have a question about something in my books, and I left my book upstairs. Would you like to come follow me this way?
Of course. If you will both excuse me.
Of course.
And I take him to the kitchen area, or wherever the heck we are. And I kind of push him through.
You left your book in the kitchen?
Hi.
It's a cookbook.
A bit of a
Can Master Obras, I don't want you to be offended, but do you mind if I cast a spell on you very quickly?
What spell?
Detect anomaly.
Oh, one of the Noctomancy spells. No, of course. Have at it.
All right, and I cast that on him.
Okay. Nothing.
Okay. And I have one question about that really quick. So detect anomaly is actually open to all spell casting. It's the reverse that's not. But in the book, and I can't for some reason download the most recent. The book I have says actually that it can be done as a ritual, but it's not in D&D Beyond that way. So if it's a ritual, that will help because then we can cast it more times, but I'm not sure.
Clarification, please.
And also, I can't remember. I don't think I can take it until I level again because we didn't discuss it on this last one, right? But Noctomancy, I can't switch in and out, right? Or did you say I could? I can't remember about that. Because Noctomancy was special.
When he first taught it to you, you could. But after that, it'll be when you level.
Peaches, great. Okay.
So I cast it on Obras.
So, if regardless of whether D&D Beyond says it's a ritual, that may just be my error putting it in there. It is a ritual spell.
Okay. So then it's 10 minutes and it doesn't take a spell slot to cast as a ritual, right?
Correct.
Okay. Or it's 10 times the... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that a spell you can cast? Father Obras. Master Obras. Father Dilbuss. Master Obras. Is that a spell that you can
Father
cast?
Obras. I like that.
Yeah, so
Don't get used to it.
as a ritual, it would take 1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. Okay.
If it's 10 times the normal casting time.
Gotcha.
Right now,
So-
it's an action, so it's basically 6
That's-
seconds or 10 seconds.
So did it come back okay?
Yeah.
On him?
Yeah.
Is that a spell you can cast?
Well, of course. Oh,
So
spells! Zorith, before I leave, I have something for you.
Excellent.
Just don't let me forget.
Okay.
So we asked for a very intimate dinner party of 3 guests
Yes.
because we needed to be able to cast that spell on everyone before we have any discussion over what we're talking about. And now there's much more than 3.
What?
The message that we at the tower received, and I'm assuming a similar message was received at the Sanctum, requested myself and Indruz, and mentioned that it was a matter of the highest level of state.
That fucking Warbender.
Because when we had a conversation with Warbender, he didn't seem to care at all. I don't say that.
I don't either, but
My inside voice.
my inside voice also.
So we asked for you, Father Dilbuss, and Mother Tassa to be here. And that was it, not even Indruz.
Well, the message we received was for both myself and Indruz. Unfortunately, the highest level of state caught the attention of the High Enchanter, and he deemed it appropriate for him to come as well, which I assume is why Father Dilbuss's superior accompanied him.
Yeah, the High Curate of the Faelefiri Sanctum is who accompanied him.
Eek.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically have the equivalent of Lord Bonethane for both the Sanctum and the Tower.
Mm-hmm. Having hors d'oeuvres in the other room while we huddle in the kitchen.
And Mother Tassa.
So, we have,
Famitka.
we have to talk about a issue with people being under the influence of Noctomancy. And before we do that, we want to make sure that the people we were talking to were not under the influence of Noctomancy. But now we need to do it to 10 people instead of 3. would you be able to help me? And I think I could do it as a ritual now. I can't do it just instant anymore. Gwen can probably do it one more time. But I don't know how. It's a 4th level spell.
Well, if I use all of the available energy that I have, I can cast it 7 times.
Okay, so you're good. We have Indruz, and you brought 2 people with you.
No, I brought Indruz and the High Enchanter.
Oh, I thought it was 5 people with him. Okay.
Yes, because Father Dilbuss brought the High Curate.
Okay, I thought it was 5 from the tower.
No. 3 from the tower and 2 from the sanctum.
That's still more than we had asked for, but I gotcha.
Right.
Okay, I thought it was.
It's not as bad.
Yeah, I thought it was 5 from the tower and 2. I was like 7 people.
No.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a lot better. Okay. Okay, so
But
that's
they apparently all traveled together.
right.
Wow.
All right, so we have Indruz, High Enchanter, Father Dilbuss, High Curate, and Mother Tassa. So that's 5.
If Obras, Indruz, the High Enchanter, the High Curate, Father Dilbuss, and Mother Tassa, that's 6.
But I just cast it on Obras, so we're good.
Okay. I see what you're doing. Okay, yeah.
Yep. And we could have Gwen. We could pull Mother Tassa aside and have Gwen do it on her, and then just explain that we have a matter of great importance to discuss. And before we do that, we have to make sure there's no outside influence. So we've asked Master Obras to cast a spell on. Do a check on everybody? I mean, how do we... I mean, it's going to be obvious you're casting a spell.
Verify everyone's mental integrity.
There you go.
Words are my thing.
Can you cast it? Deathguard?
That's a good question. Let me look.
That's what I was going to ask when I said I was going to pull him aside and just didn't get that far.
It's 4th level.
I think we talked about it. You had to add it when you got your spells for the day, but I don't know if you did today.
He added reverse anomaly, but not detect anomaly.
So it won't take very long for you to do it on 4 people if Gwen does it on Mother Tassa. So, okay.
All right. So, do you all return to the war room?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does the dining room hold more people? Should we go there?
No. This is the sort of the strategy room, the planning room. This is the appropriate venue.
Right.
Just had to add chairs, that's all.
Okay.
It's a good size room.
Yeah. Basically, in its normal configuration, it's set up for basically interviewing people. So, like, Gwen and Tosk sit on one side, and people who come in for jobs or whatever sit on the other side.
Okay. So we have enough space.
Yeah. As you all enter, everyone in the room kind of looks up, and the conversation fades. And they just sort of look at all of you expectantly, like...
Thank you all for coming on such short notice. Before we get started, we've asked Master Obras to help us with a task. As it's a rather sensitive issue that we have to discuss with you, and part of it is that some people's minds have been under attack, and before we talk about it, we want to make sure everyone in the room is verify everyone's mental integrity before we begin. So with your allowance, we'll ask Master Obras to help us a minor check of everyone.
There's a little bit of frowning from the High Enchanter and the High Curate.
Would you like me to make a persuasion?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but they're just kind of like, oh, well, I suppose. That kind of.
Since you invited yourselves.
Right. And you in fact see Father Dilbuss lean over, tap the High Curate on the shoulder. She leans down and he whispers something, and she looks at him and goes, so.
Shall we?
Yeah. So Obras begins casting. Now, he is not going to cast on Mother Tassa. Because...
Yeah.
Yeah.
When could you check on Mother Tassa for us?
Mother Tassa, do I have your permission?
Of course. Although I don't think it's necessary, but to verify, I will not stop you.
Thank you. I cast Detect Anomaly.
All right. You sense nothing different, although nothing's been altered. But you've cast this on humans and elves before. The amount of memories that this spell touches on when you cast it on Mother Tassa is about 100 times more than you've experienced or sensed dealing with the bipedal races.
Thank you.
Of course. I applaud your carefulness.
Can't be too careful right now.
And Obras goes through the rest. You see him sort of mumble an apology to the High Enchanter. But then he casts it and stands up and says,
everyone here is fully possessed of intact and unaltered memories.
Thank you, Obras, and thank you all for consenting to an intrusion such as this.
At this point, the High Enchanter turns to look at Warbender, who he's actually seated next to, and says, in a voice you did not expect to come out of that dwarven frame,
So tell me, what matter of highest state brings us here this evening, or was that message in error?
Nope. It's highest state. But I figured best to bring you all in on it, as my initial reaction was that it's not really something for the army. And the more I've thought about it, the more I've realized I'm not sure there's anything the army can do.
I look at the others. Do you want me to continue?
Please.
Like many others, we've been concerned over the last several weeks of the lack of news from Ballinamard. And so the 5 of us recently traveled there and returned last night with unsettling news. It appears that nearly everyone in town has been affected by the Noctomancy spells of the Thuilnu and are no longer in control of their actions or memories, as well as the recent reports of orcs defecting. They are living side by side with the people of Ballinamard, who accepted this, we believe, solely because of these altered memories. The horrors that some of us have seen that the Thuilnu created stalk the town at night, or whenever it's not bright enough to bother them, to ensure that the citizens there are not stepping out of line. This is why there's no trade, no word. The people of Ballinamard have been enslaved. And there is a militia of orcs there who at best seem peaceful, but we don't know if that could change if we attempt to free the people of Ballinamard.
Arabelle, if I may.
Mother Tassa looks around.
I believe that I have met all of you before, but in case I am mistaken, I am Tassa Pronatiel, the speaker of dragons for the metallic dragons of Aecathan. There are things that you should know. We have had dealings with the Thuilnu in the past. Well, we have had minor interactions with the Thuilnu in the past. They were not of our choosing, but they were also not of tremendous concern, not to us personally. Unless something has changed in the interim time that we were held. The Thuilnu are unable to affect draconic minds.
Oh.
At least, they were. We hope they still are. But something that you should be aware of. I know that you have rediscovered the magics known as Noctomancy. Understand, this is not the power of the Thuilnu. Noctomancy is a magic that was developed to counter the powers of the Thuilnu. They practice something called the Decay Goth. And it is an ability that exists outside of known magic. We do not believe that it is technically magic at all. We believe it to be something else. What else, we have not been able to discover. But is something that operates outside the known rules for both holy and arcane spellcasting. Fortunately, our ancestors, your ancestors to be specific, were able to utilize magic to detect, protect against, and counter the Decay Goth. Master Obras.
Yes? What can I do for you, lady?
Have you been able to decipher all 9 ranks of Noctomancy spells?
Well, indeed. Well, just recently we were able to finally finish deciphering the 9th rank spells. So yes, we are capable of enacting all of them that we have discovered. I do not know if that's all there is, but it's all we've discovered.
I would be happy to look over what you have and tell you if there are any other spells that I am aware of, or that any of the septs are aware of. But for now, that is good news. How much success have you had spreading this knowledge across the land?
If I may be so bold.
Yes, Master Indruz.
Yes, we have, as we have deciphered each rank of spells, we have made them known to the Sanctum, and to the Citadel, and to the extensions of the tower that exist in other communities. We have shared this information with the spellcasters who work for Lord Bonethane here in Erma. We have shared this information with Eralakis in Thunder's Edge. And we have made the information available to Romani Keep and to Kilcross. Oh, and to your aunt, Tasha, in Staffsman's Don. As we discover more individuals who would use this knowledge correctly, we will be disseminating it to them as well. We have also made available the theories of these spells to the Temple of Dressfeen, and it is my understanding that they have had some success in converting some of these to their musical notation, but not all yet. And as Obras said, we just did finish the 9th rank, so those are being disseminated, but they likely have not reached all destinations yet. He sits back down.
Thank you for the clarification on the Thuilnu, Mother Tassa.
Well, I know that you've not really encountered them. It is true what you suggest. They do not respond well to the sun.
It may seem not urgent, given that it's one town and right now no one seems to be harmed. But in a matter of weeks, they were able to do this to all of Ballinamard. If they are left unchecked, there's no telling what they could do in every city across the land. Which is why we think this is such an urgent matter.
Well, this does seem to be fairly urgent, I think. It was sent through the Far Signal network with an indication of the highest priority. Such would not have been done for something that was not considered urgent, but I do have to agree with the good general in what he said, that I don't think that the army is quite equipped to handle this particular issue until and unless there is significant fighting to be done. This, no offense to General Warbender, but it would seem to me that this is something that requires a bit more of a delicate hand than one would usually expect from the army.
Nope. No offense taken whatsoever, Father. That's about what I was thinking, too. But I also have to wonder, and I guess, Mother Tassa, this would be a question for you. Right now, there's something existing in Ballinamard that don't exist anywhere else in Aecathan. And that's peace between the orcs and everybody else. Is there a way to free the folk of Ballinamard without destroying that? Both from the standpoint of the peace, but also from the point that orcs that are friendly might be able to tell us things that'd make facing the rest of the orcs that aren't so friendly a little easier.
I don't think it's a real peace. I think that the orcs are also under a spell and are only acting so because the Thuilnu have commanded them to.
And are you not getting anything additional from the orcs who've turned themselves in?
Oh, like I said, I'm not involved in that, so I can't speak to that.
But I can, as I have been part of that group interviewing the orcs claiming to seek sanctuary. We were able to determine after not much time spent with them, a few days, that this was merely an attempt, yet another attempt, to gain a foothold on the central Aecathan mainland. And we were able to determine that this was an intended deceit, and all of those orcs were killed.
Ooh. Well, there goes that idea.
As far as your question, General, about whether it could be left peaceful, the answer, I'm afraid, is no. Unless you leave the modified memories the Thuilnu placed within the orcs where they are. Then you would also have to convince the people of Ballinamard to actually choose peace, to choose to treat them as members of their community. In my experience, that's where the plan breaks. As the orcs were responsible for the sacking of their town, I don't believe that you'll be able to convince them to welcome them of their own accord. So, no, I'm afraid that's likely not going to happen.
Well, it was a thought.
I think, in addition to whatever we decide to do about Ballinamard, it's good to hear that the Noctomancy spells have been spread. It's probably a good idea for each of Irma's leaders to receive protection from the Dakagov intrusions every day.
You're talking about the Dream Sentinel spell, right?
Yes.
Right?
That should be cast on every leader.
As some of you may know or may not know, Lord Tremaine of Thunder's Edge was attacked and was very ill and had almost succumbed to the effects of the intrusions before we were able to stop it.
Everybody kind of looks around, and Oberst says,
I knew, but I was consulting with Erelakis on how to appropriately treat Lord Tremaine and protect him. So yes, the Dream Sentinel spell should be cast both on the leaders and on the holy or arcane casters who are responsible for those leaders.
Daily.
Yes. This should be a precaution that we take from now until the foreseeable future. Right. I'll make sure to point that out to Lord Bonthane, and we'll get that enacted.
And in all of you as well.
You're all pretty important.
there's sort of a general nodding.
It sounds to me, from what I remember, if the Thuilnu are still behaving as they did when last the metallic dragons encountered them, it sounds like they have established a colony. This means that somewhere, most likely beneath Ballinamard, they have established a presence, and they have essentially set up shop. So the first step in stopping this would be to locate and eradicate the settlement.
The colony of Thuilnu.
Yes. How you would go about doing this, I cannot advise you.
A lot of day and light spells.
It will not be a simple task. Because as part of their colony, they no doubt have established production facilities for their horrors.
All right, I have a question. Are the horrors something natural first that are mutated or turned into something? Or are they created from infancy?
The Sept Sages believe it to be both.
Ugh.
They are, we believe, formed somehow out of traditional animal parts, perhaps fused with flora? We don't know, but we believe that the stock materials are of this natural world. But then something is done to them. Something that moves them beyond the natural world and into the world of the Thuilnu. We've never actually discovered a production facility.
Oh boy. So you propose that the first thing that the 5 of us do is go back to Ballinamard, find their underground colony, and raise it.
Well, someone needs to. I am not volunteering you.
I recognize that, and I appreciate it. But it's already been established that it's not something that the army can do. And while I would welcome some help from some other people who have some higher noctomancy spells, I don't see a group other than us, even augmented, I don't see another group that would be able to do it. I don't.
Tassa, I know the dragons have a non-interference in the affairs of men. Are the Thuilnu included in that?
Good question.
This is a question that would need to go before the Council of Septs, but tentatively I will say no. However, if their compounds are any like those we have found deserted before, we won't be much help, as we won't fit.
But even in this form, in an elf or human form, dragons possess great magic.
Some. But our abilities are much more limited if we are not in our natural form. However, and she looks at the High Curate and looks at the High Enchanter, is it not possible that since you have now access to these spells, that scrolls could be manufactured and provided to those who are going to take on this task? And the High Curate just kind of looks at the High Enchanter and looks back at Tassa. It could be done if this is the consensus and the tower agrees as well. We can begin to put this together, but it will, as you know, take time. Yes, but even a day's work at this would provide whatever group attempts this with more ability than they currently have. So perhaps an initial push? And then you can continue after the push is concluded and the first delivery completed.
Indruz looks at the High Enchanter and says, "We could enlist some of our more accomplished students as well, at least for the initial push. I'm certain that there are those who need the practice."
Well, I suppose. Although scrolls are not exactly as beloved to the sorcerers or the warlocks as opposed to the wizards, we might be able to lend a bit of manpower to this effort.
And I will check with the Sept Sages and see if any such things were recovered when the Septs reclaimed their homes. Perhaps there are some in hordes that they could be convinced to part with for such a noble cause.
Do have friends that we can reach out to see if we can bolster our numbers.
I know one or two myself who might be willing to help.
Well, gosh. It's going to be a big project. And then how do we make sure that all the people that we take with us are not affected? I mean,
We will have to cast the same spell on all of us.
mm-hmm.
It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah.
I think.
So, is it your intention to take this on?
Well, my aunt always told me that if you see a problem and you see no one fixing it, then you have to take it on. If you are able.
We should definitely have a discussion and
Of course.
see who we can bring on with us if it's going to be our fight.
We need to at least double our numbers. Maybe triple.
Think about that.
I go where they go.
So say we all.
Any scrolls, that potions, anything that you can send with us will be greatly appreciated. It may be helpful. Father Dilbuss, if you know, have a suggestion for a healer. That's not something we have in our book of friends to call. And while I have some ability, if we take a larger party, I will not be able to keep up. my sword is more valuable at times than my healing.
I am fairly certain that we can find someone to accompany you who can fulfill that need.
He looks at the High Curate, and the High Curate's just sitting there like this. I think I know of someone. I will be having a discussion with them, perhaps even tonight.
Thank you.
And what is the discussion? Are we discussing the actual Thuilnu before we find out if they are affected, or are we just saying it's a matter of importance?
Yes, you do raise an interesting point. Very well. I shall simply inform them that the Four have requested a healer for a mission they are about to undertake. And I shall leave it at that.
Thank you for going along with our protection, or our
Discretion.
discretion, yeah.
I am not unaware of what this threat represents. I dare say we are all fully cognizant of what this could mean. And it had best be nipped in the bud.
Indeed.
Not sure if there's a way to sense the Thuilnu, but we might want to see if people can check under the cities to see if colonies are starting.
Perhaps we need to have a tutorial on all of the possible Noctomancy spells so that we can best determine what spells we need most.
I would be happy to sit down and go over all of them with you.
That would be wonderful. You are such a treasure.
See, Indruz, I told you I was a treasure.
I'm sure Indruz looks suitably impressed.
Oh no!
A little bit nauseous, but you know.
We've always found you to be rather a big deal, Obras.
Invaluable.
All right. I shall also contact the Rakeliad, and I'll contact BA and Romani, and have them investigate their armory. Anything that they might have that might serve as some sort of protection. I assume that...
And he looks right at Indruz.
that the tower will help me figure out what it is that would be protective.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Indruz.
Our
You're
records
very helpful.
are at Lord Bonethane's disposal. Well, it sounds like now there might be a plan.
Or the beginnings of one. Maybe 15% of a plan.
Well,
I shall return to the Septs and begin to seek out any material assistance that we might be able to provide. And I am pleased that both the tower and the sanctum will be doing the same. Should we reconvene as a group at some point and bring all that we have found?
How long do you think you need? A week?
I would like to see what can be done in 24 hours.
Well, then shall we meet again at this time tomorrow?
Everybody seems to be nodding like, okay, that'll work. Indruz does not look happy.
Indruz never looks happy. He always looks like he has a slightly sour stomach. All the time.
Is it just the amount of work he's being asked to do?
Oh, see, you're so kind.
Make an insight check.
$26.
He has the auspices of someone who believes that he's going to have to do most of the work himself. Whether that's true or it's just a martyr complex, you're not sure.
Mostly column B.
All right. I am not happy to hear that this is, once again, become an issue. But I would also be less than genuine if I said I did not have some hope that it is you who are going to be spearheading this effort. Myself and my Seps, we owe you our lives. We have faith in you.
Your pep talks are always good.
All right. Well then, let's all go and see what we can get done, and we'll meet back here tomorrow.
Arabelle, as everybody's leaving, tries to catch up with Indruz.
Okay.
Master,
Yes.
thank you for coming, and I just wanted to apologize and thank you in advance. I know the burden that we're placing on you to help us with this, and if there was any other way. But we literally could not do this without you, so thank you.
Make a persuasion check.
It's my best skill. Natural 20.
Oh, shit.
Oh, 35.
He's so smooth.
35.
Indruz stops and looks at you kind of a little side-eye and then sees that you're being genuine and actually blinks a couple times and like half smiles.
Well, it is nice to have one's efforts appreciated. I will do my best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so everybody heads out Mother Tassa kind of hangs back a little bit.
Master Obras is also going to teach me something.
Oh, he's headed out the door.
Well,
He appears
grab
to have
him.
forgotten.
I go to grab him.
What? Oh. Yes. What did you need?
You were going to teach me something?
Oh! Gods. Yes. I finally figured out how to get that spell to work.
The communication spell?
Well, you're not there. It's just him and Zori.
Okay.
So I have this for you,
And he opens this bag at his hip, and just, his arm goes like in up to almost the shoulder. Pulls out something wrapped in leather, and he lays it at his palm and opens it up, and it's 2 braided pieces of copper. Looks like braided copper wire.
Ooh.
You recognize it as the wire that you've seen Tasha pull out to do the sending spell. But this is like 50 of them braided together into a strand, and there's 2 of them.
Like I use for message?
Yeah, it's the same thing for sending. It's just a slightly bigger wire.
Oh, okay.
And he wraps that and hands it to you, and then reaches in the bag again and pulls out 2 scroll cases and hands them to you. He says,
one of these is for you to use in emergencies. The other one is for you to learn.
Okay.
and let me get down to where my spells are here. This is a 5th level spell. It's called Obras's Greater Sending. And it's in the book. But it says, this extension of the sending spell creates a mental connection between 2 participants for the span of 1 minute.
Ooh, 1 minute.
During that time, the participants may interact verbally as if they were in the same room. Otherwise, the spell works in a similar fashion to the sending spell. It has the same chance of malfunction if the target's on a different plane as a sending spell.
Mm-hmm.
But at higher levels, for each level above 5th the spell is cast at, an additional 2 participants may be added to the connection.
Mm.
And both of these scrolls are written at 7th level. Well, would be 14th level. So they cast as 7th level. So each spell will connect 6 people for a minute.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much.
I'm just happy I figured out the damn wire.
Me too.
I tried longer strands. I tried thicker strands. It wasn't until actually it was Indruz who came up with the idea of braiding strands that turned out to be the solution.
Awesome. That's good.
But you can also tell Tasha that I have sent a copy of this to the Temple of Dressfiend, and I assume that they are in the process of converting it to that weird dots and lines notation that they use.
Right? To music.
But so eventually, she should be able to access this spell as well.
Excellent. I will let her know. She'll be very happy.
All right. Good. I'm glad you reminded me.
I give him a hug.
Forgotten. Do take care. I will prod Indruz as much as necessary, and we shall get you as many scrolls as we can. I shall also, if this is acceptable to everyone, and you can just let me know, I will be happy to come an hour early and give everyone the explanation of all of the noctomantic spells that we have managed to translate.
Okay. We will let you know, but I don't see it being a problem.
Let us just assume that that will be acceptable unless I hear from you otherwise.
Excellent.
All right. He pats you on the shoulder.
Get a good night's rest.
You too.
He heads out.
Poor Jazz sat through that whole entire thing and didn't have to say a darn word.
Nope.
But that's okay. You just
And
had him there for.
and Annette, you,
I'm sure he was just like, what is happening right now?
Just watching everybody talk.
Did that lady say she was a dragon?
Right.
yeah.
We're gonna have to have a follow up.
And
Mother Tassa stayed behind.
yes.
Right? Okay.
We're gonna have to have a follow up conversation with Jazz and be like, so.
I have 2 questions I have to remember.
A lot of things.
Mother Tassa has gone over to sit next to Jazz
Oh boy.
and is chatting with him, and he looks completely out of his depth.
As well he should.
I do want to ask Mother Tassa 2 things. I'll wait for an appropriate break in their conversation.
Oh, there's plenty of breaks because Jazz is doing lots of quick thinking before he answers your questions.
Mother Tassa, can I see if you might know the answer to a couple of questions?
Of course. Please sit. I've just been making the acquaintance of this young man who's been through apparently so much.
He's very brave and very strong-willed.
So I'm sensing.
Jazz just kind of blushes a little bit, just kind of like, wow.
Have some more drink. The Aecathan intrusions. So I know we have the Dream Sentinel spell that helps ward those off. Do you know what it is that they enhance?
What do you mean?
What it takes to resist the spell?
Well, Noctomancy was developed specifically for that purpose, to give the surface races the ability to resist the intrusions of the Aecathan. There, if memory serves, there are magical items that do offer some protection as well, but I will have to speak with the Sept Sages because I do not remember which those are, nor exactly how much effect they have.
Well, what I'm wondering is, one of the abilities I have helps protect my friends against other magical type effects when we're being attacked or a spell is cast upon us. I wondered if that protection might extend to resisting those types of intrusions.
Specifically, what types of magical effects can you assist them in
I guess,
resisting?
Jeff, the game mechanic I'm questioning because I don't know what it is. Is it a saving throw that we make?
No.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
No.
Okay.
It's a whole separate set of stats that none of you have had to deal with yet.
Okay. Because it's like the Dream Sentinel gives a bonus of the level of the caster +2, but I just didn't know. We don't know what it adds to, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's okay.
Yeah. It actually, like I said, there's 3 stats that have to do with the Decay Goth.
Okay.
And those are all determined by...
So it's like my saving throw auras aren't going to help.
No.
Okay, that's what.
Because this is something like Mother Tassa said. It's something that's outside of the sphere of magic.
Right. And then the other question I wondered, when we travel, we often stay in either Tasha or Athgar's mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Would they be able to target us there?
Again, I will consult with the Sept Sages to be certain, but if memory serves, the Decay Goth is limited to a single plane.
Okay. So that may provide us a level of protection.
Absolutely.
Okay.
As the mansions are non-dimensional spaces, they exist outside the traditional definition of dimensions. So, yes, it would be an otherness in terms of their ability to reach.
Thank you.
After I talk to Obrus, I also need to come in and talk to Mother Tassa.
Okay.
I know you said the Thuilnu can't affect draconic minds. Does that technically include me?
I don't know.
Okay. I was just wondering.
That will be something else to ask the Sept Sages. I can see several gatherings in my immediate future.
Sorry for the immediacy of the situation, but...
No apologies necessary. We have a score to settle with the Thuilnu, even were they not a threat to any who walk the surface.
Yes.
So, whatever assistance we can offer, we shall.
Excellent. Thank you.
I shall probably not sleep before we meet again, but...
I'm so sorry.
I slept for over a century. I think I can spare an evening. But I should go and begin collecting those who must gather with me. The Sept Sages are not what we would call quick.
Okay.
So I wish you all the best of luck. Try to get some rest. Young man, it was a pleasure, and you are to be commended. I will see you all in a bit under 24 hours.
And she just kind of steps back and disappears.
I can't
Well-
believe you know all those people.
Who's
That was
left in
a-
the room?
The four of you, Athgar and Jas.
Okay, I was just making sure that Warbender and everybody had left. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I will let Jas expound.
To be fair, the head curate and
The High Curate.
the high curate and the
High Enchanter.
high enchanter, not really people we know.
Well, you know the High Curate. Well,
we've met him.
her.
We've met her, but it's not like we're chums.
But still, they came to your house.
True.
I've never had one of the council come to my house. Or any of the shaman.
We're kind of a big deal.
You know, the first time that one of you said that, I thought that was just kind of, adventure or arrogance, but now I see it's just a statement of fact.
It was actually said in jest, but versus arrogance. But
Still,
We kind of laugh at the fact that we're kind of a big deal, but because we don't know how we got here.
really?
I think we should tell Viessa
Oh yeah,
and see if she might have someone who can accompany us. Because
well,
Aramin's skills these days.
I think that that is a task for you and I. Would you like to go to JoJo's real quick?
Well, we could eat first. I think Kaylin's got dinner prepared.
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, we better do that. We do not want to offend that poor woman. She did way too much today.
And I will suggest also that if you were serious about having people check beneath cities, Viessa is the person to know about
That's
anything
what-
going on beneath Erma.
Oh yeah, that's
why
the
I wanted
truth.
to talk to her because, and not just here, she has people
All over,
all over.
unless they've been killed.
But that's definitely a job we can perhaps leave in her capable hands. Not to intervene if they find something, but
No, but to recon.
yes,
Yes.
that's
We
can get a lot more places than we can. So
and
that's why
for
I can
whatever
bring
reason,
her in.
she is trustworthy.
Well, this is as big a threat to Aecathan as the chromatics are, and as the
Oh, yeah.
Jarmonans are.
Oh
I
yeah.
doubt she will do anything other than help.
Oh, absolutely. No, I know she will. I'm serious. I do trust Viessa on certain matters, and this is one of them.
So are we doing this?
Can anybody else do it?
Given the new information about it being an underground
Colony.
colony where it's going to be a little bit of a
Bug hunt?
a pinpoint fight versus just trying to
Wander
fix the
around
town.
in town.
Yeah. It makes it a little less daunting. It's still daunting.
Oh no, it's still pretty daunting. But it's a daunting that we might actually be able to accomplish.
So who do we need? We have a cleric coming from the sanctum.
We need
Maybe
a
sneaky
thief would
person
be
from
good.
Viessa. I mean, we could reach out.
A-
Nook, Vines.
Yeah. Vines certainly. Maybe Nuck. Nuck has been helpful.
Vines for sure.
Yeah.
Do we need another?
Do we need
caster?
another healer? Oh,
I mean, 2 healers would not be bad.
Well, Vines has some. I have some.
I have some.
So I think if we
Athgar
have
has some.
I have some, yes.
a strong healer, then I think the rest of us can augment. It's just
So maybe one more spellcaster, like another a mage or a wizard.
yeah. I think Airlocus needs to stay with Lord Tremaine. I know he was
I
very
agree.
helpful when we took
Yeah,
Strauss.
yeah.
I think he needs to be there.
Yeah.
Maybe Aerolacus would let us take his protege.
The only problem
I
with
think a
that-
wizard, right?
we need someone whose magic is not wild.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And if they don't already know the Noctomancy spells, it's a little different for sorcerers to learn, right, Zori?
Right.
So a wizard can learn it.
All right. Well, then we need to ask
Indruz.
Oberus if he can.
Indruz. Right?
Okay.
Oberus is the sorcerer.
Indruz is the wizard. Perhaps we need to ask Indruz if he will.
He was in a little better mood when he left.
I'm sure you're to thank for that.
I just thanked him for his efforts on our behalf. And on behalf of Aecathan, of course.
He is so difficult to tease. He just doesn't have much of a sense of humor, that man.
Yeah, maybe we need a wizard not like him, though. I don't know that a wizard can handle us.
Well, whoever we get, he'll just have to deal with our peculiarities.
So, the Dream Sentinel spell is of 2nd rank. And
Okay.
that Athgar, Gwen, and I can all cast that.
I wish I could cast it.
Myself as well.
So if the 5 of us, and then we have a cleric, a sneaky person, a wizard, Nuck, and Vines, that makes 10 of us.
All right. Well, that does
That
double
seems
us.
pretty large, and probably I don't think we'd want to go much bigger.
No, I think 10 is good.
I will say that 8 is our magic number. But
for teleport, yes, that's true.
Oh,
but also Athgar may teleport.
That's
yeah.
So we just have 2 groups, right?
Well,
Yeah.
still.
Maybe 8 is the better number.
I'm thinking.
Because
All right.
what if one of you is unconscious?
Yes.
Cleric, thief, and a wizard. That makes 8. No Nuck, no Vines.
I don't know how much a straight strong fighter would make, but maybe Nuck
Well,
versus a wizard.
and okay, I'd like to history check us for when we fought any of the
Oh,
horrors that
wait. What if we get a couple scrolls of teleport? And then I could cast teleport if we needed it.
if they have them available for us, yeah.
Well, that's worth trying. That's worth asking for. I'm sure somebody has one.
I literally don't remember what I was going to say.
I'm
Think you're
sorry.
history checking.
Oh, history
about
checking.
Fighting the horrors or something.
Fighting the horrors, yes. So who can do daylight spells? Clerics, but
Right.
yeah.
Hold on, let me double check.
I have
You're
one, but
muted.
I have one, but it's super high level.
It is. I want to say it's Third daylight is a third level for me.
But who can spell it? I mean, who can?
I would be able to. The cleric would be able to. Maybe a druid.
I can do it.
You can do daylight.
I would have to prepare the spell, which I could do after a long rest.
It says sorcerer, but I don't have the ability to change. So.
Yeah, it's not something that bards get access to.
I did have, even though what I'm able magic items to use is hard, I wondered if it might be useful to get another ring like you have, Zori.
Oh, I could have someone cast daylight into this spell.
I can cast into your spell, into your ring.
But I also have
Ooh.
But I also have my big spell that I was just talking about. How high did the rings go?
5th.
Poop.
I think it's a I think it's a super big spell.
Well, it's 5 levels worth, so I think if you put a 5th level, that's all you could put in.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I'm.
Well, that's awful.
But we could put.
It's an 8th. It's an 8th level spell. It's Sunburst. So that was what I was hoping, but we can't. So maybe you guys could put daylight in there. Because I can cast it, right? Anybody who's wearing the ring will go off and it will work, correct?
Yes.
You don't have to be a spellcaster.
Right. But the ring requires attunement, so.
Right. Yeah, and I have things attuned already, so.
Oh, are you not wearing it right now?
No, I'm not. I'm wearing the robe, the wand of the War Mage, and the amulet of proof against detection.
Well, let's see.
So, wand of the War Mage, I might be able to give up, but.
Well, I could take off the fire ring and wear the spell storing ring.
There you go.
Oh, that might be beneficial.
But I currently don't have. Do I not have that? Oh. Attunement's so stupid.
It is.
Because I don't have the healing staff attuned, though. I might want that instead.
Right, I know. This is one half does another.
The Rod of Resurrection, I don't worry about attuning because there's not a time on that. So if something happened,
Right.
tune to it over a short rest and use Resurrection.
Got
So
it.
that I don't take us, but the healing might be helpful. Yeah.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I'll
Yep.
think about that, which would be useful. But
Because we
So-
still haven't decided about the number of people.
so cleric,
Cleric, thief, and wizard or mage, I think.
and not take another fighter.
Oh, history check about the horrors. Sorry.
Okay.
About us fighting them previously. 16 plus 2, 18, and I'm specifically wanting to remember, other than daylight, was it helpful to have people smack them?
Or what was the best way to dispatch them?
Right.
What
That is
you
what I wanna
remember is
Yes.
that each type of horror seemed to have different strengths and different weaknesses.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Right.
So we need a little bit of everything.
Well, the one thing we know is daylight. I mean, the one thing we know is light. Right? That is something that we remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you recall that the remains dissolved in the sunlight.
Yes, okay. Okay. So Wand of the War Mage was amazing. It is a +2 to attack rolls. That includes spell. But I have a +13, so it would be +11 if I took it off. So I may be able to get away with that ring. So we'll think about that.
Okay.
Does anyone? This is it's a character question. Do we know how Vines, did he pray to nature every morning to get his spells, or are they similar to you, Zori, where he can only change them every so often?
No, he prayed every morning.
So a lot of the spells, not the Dream Sentinel, but I think some of the others, maybe like the Reverse Anomaly and things. Oberus could tell us for sure, but I think that a druid might be better than a wizard.
Okay. Plus, Vines has come with us before.
Right.
If he's available, if he's willing to risk his life once again with us.
Right.
But we know him, and it might be easier to take someone we know when we're already going to have others that are...
So are we in agreement that we're only going to take 8 people?
I think so. I think for a lot of reasons it makes sense.
What are your reasons opposing it, Tasha?
I want more people. I'm just concerned that 8 is enough. I know. Sorry.
8 is enough.
8's enough. 8 is enough.
So the big concern about it being more than 8 is teleporting, right?
Yeah.
And we just want to save our teleportation spells, and that's why we don't want to have 2.
Well,
it's the issue of if you have more than 8 people, it requires 2 casters in case of emergency. And if one caster is down for the count, who gets left behind?
Does anybody have Twinned Spell as a feat?
No.
Given Gwen and Athgar and Tasha's talents, and actually even Zori's with a set of lockpicks, maybe a wizard would be more helpful than another sneaky person.
We got sneak.
I think I know how to pick locks, I think.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think we have... I know I suggested it, but perhaps if Viessa has somebody with that skill, they might be better use looking under cities, and a wizard might be more beneficial. And that gives us... I mean, most of us are handy enough in melee that another fighter might not be as valuable as a wizard, even if they're squishy. So, a cleric, a wizard, and we see if Vines is available. Well, the master or high curate's already.
Looking for
the
somebody.
cleric is already addressed, so we would just need to see if Master Indruz would be willing to recommend a wizard. We don't know a wizard, right?
No.
How
But we
strange.
should still talk to Viessa.
Yes, we definitely.
Uh-oh.
I'm back. The underground. I keep freezing. It's just bad tonight. The underground issue, and then maybe we could introduce her to Jas, since we are going to tell her.
Yeah.
So, dinner.
And with that, it's dinner and a good night's rest. And
a long
this
rest.
Yes, and this is where we're going to stop. We'll pick this back up next time, the following morning.
Excellent.
So,
Brilliant.
thank you very much for watching. We do appreciate you giving us your time and attention. We'll be back next week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, here on Twitch. So we hope that you will join us again, and let us once again welcome you back to the lands of Aecathan.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Say night, Merlin.